Welcome to Raw is. Let's do lots of old rivalries, but this time in matches that are completely pointless and do not matter whatsoever. But let me tell you, dear viewer, Bobby Lashley is getting that push all the way to the moon, and I am ready for it to happen. Slap my bath turd. It was fantastic to see Bobby Lashley, this new aggressive Bobby Lashley, looking so powerful on last night's Raw. And yes, let me tell you, I do the poos in the bath. Then I get the poos and rub it into my skin. It's wonderfully healthy for you. You think I'm lying, don't you? Well, I'm not. And you might be thinking, Ross, you sound extra angry today. Well, let me tell you why. Because Colonel McSweaty Bollocks came back once again on last night's Raw. And would you just know it? Colonel McSweaty Bollocks did some Colonel McSweaty Bollocks things. More on that later. I am Ross Twaddell from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are all the WTF moments from last night's Raw. Hit the intro, you little prick. And the WWE logo in that championship title is still the right way around. WWE, you had one job. Make it an M. His name's The Miz, not The Wiz. Imagine if his name was The Wiz. Piss. And then The Wiz, as that belt there would indicate his name actually is, said, "How do you like me now?" And Gimmick Infringement Kane says, "Bob Holly says hello." And also Bob Holly should win everything. And then The Wiz said, "I'm still standing." And Gimmick Infringement Kane said to The Miz, "Hey Miz, or is it Wiz? Is it Miz? I don't know where I am. Hey Mizzles, you're doing Elton John wrong," because as we all know, via that live performance, which I do believe was in last year's Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast Hall of Fame, Elton John doesn't speak proper words anymore. I'm Dale Dander, baby living boo. It's a wonderful performance. And as we all know, The Miz is a bona fide professional wrestling heel, so he should be telling porcupines from time to time, so people like me are saying, "Hey Miz, that's not actually true, that. You're very untrustworthy." But when The Miz called WWE Raw WWE's flagship show here in 2021, I was thinking, you can't say that. You cannot say that with a straight face like you did. Let's talk about the Monday SmackDown costs, which is more than Monday Night Raw. And then let's not even start with the creative things that happen on Raw compared to the creative things that happen on SmackDown, because SmackDown is just a lot better and clearly has a lot more effort put into it than Monday Night Raw does here in 2021. And I'm not sure if this moment right here was deliberate or not, because quite frankly, you could see a Miz versus John Morrison feud happening in the not too distant future. But The Miz stood there right next to Joe Mo at the start of last night's Raw, and he said, "All of the top stars of my generation, they've all come and they've all gone." And I was thinking, wait there, Mizzles, or should we call you Wizzles? Let's go with Mizzles this time around. Joe Mo is part of your generation. Joe Mo is the longest reigning 5-star wrestling champion of all time. Longer reigning than you ever were with the 5-star wrestling championship, Miz. It's just the slander from The Miz to his supposed best friend. It's just absolutely unacceptable. Could have been deliberate, so we can call back to this in the future when they are feuding, but just in case it isn't, it's a WTF moment. Riddle, it's back once again. Of course, if you saw the Elimination Chamber WTF moments right here on this very YouTube channel, you'd have seen me standing here going, "Oh no, there's no M. Riddle. There's no Riddle. It looks like the meme. It has died a horrible death." But it's back. It's the greatest return in professional wrestling history. Riddle once again wearing jackets with an M on, because what the hell could M stand for? His name is Riddle, no first name whatsoever. Now surely there must have been some kind of scheduling conflict that prevented Rhea Ripley from appearing at Elimination Chamber 2021. And I'm only saying this because surely Rhea Ripley should have been the woman to turn up at Elimination Chamber, take Lacey Evans' place in that Raw Women's Championship match, defeat Asuka, make a massive statement, a massive star-making victory, go on to WrestleMania, defend against Charlotte Flair, pin that bitch. like she should have done at WrestleMania 36. I just think it's WTF moment worthy that WWE had the perfect opportunity to debut Rhea Ripley as a bona fide member of the Raw roster. They didn't do that. Then 24 hours later, they would start hyping up her debut on the Raw brand. It's just weird, isn't it? Yes, that is definitely the people that is claiming it to be. First of all, look at the absolute state of that man. Somebody stood there with a virtual pen and drew a circle around the relevant squares inside the Thunderdome. We can all agree that WWE excel when it comes to production things, but the production value there is as worthless as me. I mean, the way it looked, it was bad enough, but then you realise the lads and lasses, no squares there. They weren't even watching Raw live. They were playing replays, little loops. And then you realise that Freddie Prinze Jr. is one of the names that they're showing in those pre-recorded boxes there. A former WWE creative team member. Surely a massive WWE fan. Straight to hell appearance, anybody? That'll never happen. Not even he can bring himself to watch Monday Night Raw here in 2021. And to be honest with you, who can blame him? Last night's wasn't too bad, but it has been very bad. How much longer do I have to deal with this crap, said Mustafa Ali. And to be honest with you, hopefully not too much longer. Retribution, DOA, dead on arrival, has been horrible from the start. The horrible masks, the horrible names, very talented wrestlers. We all know this beyond any shadow of any doubt, but they've got the horrible masks, they've got the horrible names, they've been booked like feckin' idiots with capital F and capital E at the start of those two words right here. It's time to end it, isn't it, everybody? Just let them go off, forget about Retribution, use this to build their old gimmicks up once again, and just let them be the talented professional wrestlers we all know they are. Bloody hell. And now we have a direct quote from one Tom Phillips, who once again was face falling the poo out of a line on WWE commentary. Well, it's quite lovely, this, really, isn't it? If The Miz does not give Bobby Lashley a WWE Championship match, Lashley is going to decimate The Miz. So simply going off Tom's words there, presumably, if The Miz does give Lashley a WWE Championship match, Lashley will give The Miz a lovely bouquet of roses and a kiss on the cheek. The Miz is absolutely buggered either way, isn't he, Tom? I'm far more clarified to get a shot at the title than Bobby Lashley, said Braun Strowman. And that's wonderful news, Braun Strowman. I'm happy to hear that you're more clarified than Bobby Lashley to get a shot at the WWE title. But I want to know, what qualifications do you have, Bonnie lad? And I bet that because of that sight there on last night's Raw, you were thinking I was taking today off work. It's horrible how it's worked out the last few occasions that Colonel McSweaty Bollocks has made a triumphant return to WWE, because it's always happened on an episode of Raw when I've taken a break, a little holiday, a little break from work, a little bit better. I look a bit I can't be you know I can't speak anymore. When I take a little break from work, Shane McMahon, he comes back. But no, Colonel McSweaty Bollocks, he did return on last night's Raw, because just like the Elimination Chamber announcement, where he was so integral to the announcement of that match, quite frankly, we all know it, don't we? Adam Pearce could not have said the words Colonel McSweaty Bollocks said on that night in the order that Colonel McSweaty Bollocks said them. He is absolutely brilliant, isn't he? And last night, he came back once again, because once again, he was completely integral to what was going on inside of that wrestling ring. Why the hell was he there? They really tried to force this Braun Strowman versus Colonel McSweaty Bollocks angle ahead of WrestleMania. And it terrifies me that massive, big, scary monster Braun Strowman could be pinned and defeated by Shane McMahon. You know it's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but we know it's going to happen. And then we've got to make the deafening, quite literally deafening, Shane O'Mac chants inside of the Thunderdome a massive WTF moment. That's exactly the reaction that would have greeted Colonel McSweaty Bollocks if an actual live crowd was inside the arena for last night's Raw. There's no doubt about it, is there? WWE must be joking, quite frankly. They reckon that after the WWE Universe, yes, you and me, we're good pals inside the WWE Universe, after we sat through everything that Shane McMahon did, especially in 2018 and especially in 2019, and not to mention the fantastic success that was Shane McMahon's Raw Underground, would all be going, oh, leader, piss off, man, WWE, will you? And then Shane McMahon, you remember Shane McMahon, the commissioner of SmackDown, whatever the f he was back in the day. He says to Adam Pearce, who we all know because we watch every single show, is doing a way better job than Colonel McSweaty Bollocks and D-Bry did back in the day. He says to Adam Pearce, Adam, you've got to run a tighter ship round here, pal. What are you doing with your life? Oh! One question, Sweaty Bollocks. How many car windows has Adam Pearce been put through by a WWE superstar? Yeah, take that one, you arsehole. And then, I tell you, you think I'm being harsh on Shane McMahon here? Just listen to what I'm saying. It's all WTF moments, and it's all coming out the mouth of one Colonel McSweaty Bollocks. Shane McMahon says to Braun Strowman, hey Braun Strowman, you can't just waltz down here and demand, expect, just get a WWE Championship match. Let's reel them off, shall we, everybody? The Big Show in the actual main event of WrestleMania 36. Goldberg at the Royal Rumble of 2021. Ziggler, Rollins, all these people who didn't deserve the shot at the time, but got one. What are you on about, man, Shane? That's exactly how it works. The WWE Championship here in 2020/2021 is a buffet. First come, first serve. If you're not there first, you miss out. I love buffets. And I know he's a McMahon, but who the hell put Shane McMahon in charge? He comes out for that segment on last night's Raw and says, hey Adam Pearce, you've got to run a tighter ship here, but then he proceeds to start booking the full entire road to WrestleMania. He's making matches for 2 weeks' time, he's making matches for next week's time, all while Adam Pearce, the guy who was supposed to be running this tight ship, he stood there. How could you say that to Adam, then just flatten the guy? Oh yes, that's right, because you're Shane McMahon, the best professional wrestler and general manager now in the world ever. But it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Shane McMahon is a McMahon. He's been sitting back in the background just watching things play out on WWE TV. He's been watching Adam Pearce do a sterling, stellar job as an authority figure in WWE today. And he's thought, wow, Adam's not doing too well here. I better come back, tell him he's not doing too well, even though he's been doing very well indeed, and then I'll book things to make Adam look like a cuck, even though I honestly have no idea what the word is when it comes to Shane McMahon when he appears on WWE TV this day and age. I just miss the glorified stuntman who would do silly things and we'd sit there and applaud. When I was a kid, back in the year 2000, 2001, stuff like that, that's the Shane McMahon I know. This guy that comes around, well, all the way through from 2016, basically, it just lacks self-awareness and it's so easy just to go, hey, that's wrong. Stop it, Shane. From the sweaty to the saucy we go, because once again Tom Phillips was doing some saucy things in some Instagram DMs and on commentary on last night's Raw when he said it's nice to have that kind of relationship with someone from your home country. Country? Country's got 3 syllables now, apparently. Was Tom Phillips speaking about Paige and Wade Barrett? Was he bollocks? No, he was speaking about Damian Priest and Bad Bunny, who, of course, are from Puerto Rico, which, of course, is a part of the United States. The Fiend is coming back as Papa Shango confirmed. Not my words, everybody, but the words of Gimmick Infringement Kane. Either that, or just like Alexa Bliss, Randy Orton has been chewing on a biro pen and it's popped in his mouth and it's spewed out of his mouth live on international television. We've all been there as kids, haven't we? What's Randy like, eh? Yep, I wrong, yep, I wrong. I have no idea how to explain that, said Byron Saxton, about the jizz blarting out of Randy Orton's mouth. And I was thinking, Byron, you saw Alexa Bliss on Raw a few short weeks ago. You've seen Randy Orton tonight. It's clear that one of 2 things are happening here. Either Alexa Bliss has COVID, right? And that black stuff is COVID. And she's passed it on to Randy Orton while interacting with him on Monday Night Raw. Or second of all, the essence of the Fiend is inside the mortal vessel of Alexa Bliss, and now she's passed him on to the mortal vessel of that no good bastard snack, Randy Orton, and the essence of the Fiend is trying to get out. So if Randy Orton starts doing weird things, like putting his hand in his pants and then shaking hands with fellow superstars, we'll know the Fiend is to blame. Wrestling's a bit silly. So we have a Nia Jax match, and somebody opposing to Nia Jax gets injured, yet Nia Jax is not to blame? I think I'm dead. The end is nigh, the end is nigh, time to run away, the end is nigh. Sorry, Nia, it just happens way too many times, doesn't it? But no, last night's injury to Asuka's teeth. She had a tooth knocked out, for goodness sake. It wasn't down to Nia Jax, it was actually down to Shayna Baszler, or as she will now be known on this video series, Shayna Shearer. Because that was very reminiscent of an Alan Shearer strike to the face of one Neil Lennon. Hoof! and the teeth, it was gone. I do hope the dentist is ready for Asuka. Or Asuka is ready for the dentist. Anyway, I hope she's okay. So then we have the finish to that tag team match where Asuka had her tooth knocked out by Shayna Baszler, and Charlotte Flair, she boots Asuka in the face by mistake. She then chases after Shayna Baszler, she being Charlotte Flair, pronouns pal. And then because Asuka is dazed and confused and potentially concussed and knocked out and all those horrible things, Nia Jax swoops in there, leg drop, 1, 2, 3, Nia and Shania, that's their new tag team. Shania Twain, they have defeated Charlotte and Asuka. So after all of that happens, Charlotte goes in for the handshake. Asuka's like, no man, you saw I was concussed, I was dazed, I was a little bit loopy. Where the hell were you? Chasing after Shayna Baszler, leaving me high and dry. Piss off, will you? I thought Asuka was completely in the right. Just ask him where her tag team partner was when Asuka wasn't completely with it. But was Charlotte Flair having this? No, she wasn't. Her hands get slapped away, and then Charlotte's like, right, Asuka, see you later. I want now to do with you. It was very confusing indeed. And I'm only making this a WTF moment because I feel like I've stood here on Raw WTF Moments the last few times I've done this video series, and I've seen Charlotte Flair cut a promo and then do some contradictory behaviour inside the ring or vice versa. I've got no idea what Charlotte Flair's character is these days. It's hard to keep up with. You think she's a baby face when Ric Flair and Lacey Evans were doing what they were doing? But then she comes off as a heel in scenarios like this. Shades of grey my arse. They don't exist in WWE. There's just no consistency. That's what I'm trying to say in a very convoluted and very confusing way. Just let me be Charlotte Flair, says Charlotte Flair to Ric Flair. And I was thinking, I know exactly where you're coming from here, Charlotte Flair, with your completely unique remix of Ric Flair's theme when you walk down the aisle to that theme wearing a version of Ric Flair's famous, infamous ring walk jacket ting. You get in the ring, you do a woo, just like Ric Flair did in every single promo. You've got your finisher, which is Ric Flair's finisher, but it's slightly different, but also very similar. You do the thing over the top rope, the way into the corner fakey thing that Ric Flair used to do back in the day. You go to WrestleMania 35, you do the same entrance he did in a helicopter way back in the day. Now I know exactly what Charlotte Flair is saying right here in February of 2021. She is sick of Ric Flair coming back and making headlines that she could be making, stealing the spotlight from her. But it just makes no sense to me when so much of Charlotte Flair is literally Ric Flair. How can you get out of your father's shadow when you use his shadow? You know what I mean? Hopefully, this is the sign of a new sort of character spin for Charlotte Flair going out here, where she drops a lot of what Ric Flair did and becomes her own performer. We all know why she does all of the tributes to Ric Flair. He's Ric Flair, she's his daughter, she's carrying on the lineage, the name, all that malarkey. It's good stuff, but it makes no sense in the context of that promo here. Damn you, Dad, for stealing my spotlight while I do everything you did. Charlotte is confusing these days. That's all I'm saying. And then the commentary team start going on about how impressive the tag team tandem of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke have been on Monday Night Raw over the last little while. And I was thinking, no. Surely not. I took my sorry arse over to cage match, so I did, and I saw the tag team tandem of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. They have lost 6 of the last 8 tag team bouts, whether that be 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, whatever on whatever. And that was before last night's show, by the way. So now, of course, they've lost to Lana and Naomi on last night's Raw. They've lost 7 of their last 9 tag team matches. And if that's good, I don't know. And we're rounding things off with a direct quote from The Miz when he was watching Big Bobby Lashley taking on bigger Braun Strowman, when The Miz said, "This is the type of match I love to see. Smash mouth in your face. 2 brawny men just going head to head." Well then. Mike the Miz likes big sweaty men. Mike the Miz likes big sweaty men. Mike the Miz is secretly gutted he won't be going at it in a triple threat match with Big Braun and Big Bobby next week. That was a wet dream of a match for the Miz. But that's it for your WTF moments from last night's Raw. I've been Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic Wrestling. Let me know what you thought of last night's Raw in those comments down below. I never ask you that, do I? I should start, really. Let me know what you thought. I thought it was all right. Nothing out there the extraordinary, but nothing really offensive either, apart from Randy Orton and his biro penning. So let me know what you think down there. I'll see you soon. All the best to you. Merry Christmas.